All right, everybody. Hello and welcome to something special and relatively new that we're doing here at Split Ticket, which is legislative election coverage. This is the first legislative election that we've officially issued a rating for in Virginia's 7th Senate District. One of the most high profile special elections I've seen in a long time. Perhaps in terms of financial interest, the most significant that I've seen since 2017 when the teachers union backed Republican Fran Grenier against Steve Sweeney and unsuccessfully sought to defeat him. That's the most expensive special election in U.S. history, so far as we know. But tonight we've got a couple important links we can use for results that I will be sharing here in the comments section. We naturally have VPAP, a great resource that we're going to be using for 2023 ratings for the Senate and House of Delegates in Virginia. So they have their results up for the 7th District. There are actually two other special elections going on in the House of Delegates tonight in Virginia, but we're going to be focusing on the 7th because it's the most competitive race of the night and it has the greatest implications. Let me also send another link that was going around Twitter today that's quite good from Varun, and he has made a live map, election night live map. Um, I like that for its mobility, and I like VPAP because VPAP lets you know exactly how many early votes are outstanding, and then you can also check the Virginia Board of Elections as well for returns. Now, we're waiting on numbers coming in. Still no numbers yet, so I guess we can talk a little bit about the campaign. First, let me pull up the split ticket thread we did the other day with our official rating. We are going leans Democratic in this district, but it's going to be close. And again, I would rather be the Democrat based off of what I've heard in terms of turnout dynamics up to this point. But I know one Virginia analyst, Joe Szymanski at Elections Daily, I think he was very wise in saying from his contacts that both sides, for Rouse and Adams, are not really sure exactly what's going to happen, at least as of this morning. So let me find the thread for you guys, and then we can talk a little bit about the district and a little bit about the campaign and what we're doing here. All right, so just a moment here. And by the way, we're going to be doing full ratings for Virginia and New Jersey for the legislature this year. And I think you guys are going to enjoy that. It'll be a nice way to fill in the gap in between the midterms and the 2024 cycle. So, as you can see on the thread that I posted there, we're covering the 7th Senate District special election tonight. This is a district primarily located in Virginia Beach, and it's traditionally Republican, as VPAP will tell you. It has not been represented by a Democrat in this form in quite some time. Uh, Up to this point, it was held by Jen Kiggans, who, as you all know, was elected to Congress in Virginia's 2nd District last November, narrowly defeating Democrat Elaine Luria. And the seat opened up. She had only won re-election by about 500 votes in 2019, and this is being held under the old lines as it is a special election. The Virginia elections this fall will be held under new lines, which you can find on VPAP. Quite useful. Same link that I put for the results earlier. And it is a Biden plus 10 district, give or take. Those are rough numbers. The VPAP estimate for the Youngkin vote is 4.3. So, again, a Biden Youngkin district. It's Democratic trending, especially the suburbs. It also has a significant black majority population. I believe it's about 55-27 is the census racial composition of the district, according to VPAP. And that really makes up the bulk of the Democratic base. So that's why black turnout is going to be very, very important in tonight's election. The two candidates are Aaron Rouse. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. If not, I apologize in advance. And Kevin Adams. Starting with Adams, he's about twice Rouse's age. He's in his 60s. Rouse is in his 30s. They have different backgrounds. Um, Rouse, the Democrat, is a former NFL player who then went into nonprofits and did a lot of admirable charity work, and has since become a city councilor. Adams, on the other hand, is a retired Navy lieutenant commander, and of course, in Virginia Beach and anywhere near Newport News, the Navy is a huge industry, and it is traditionally a benefit to have been a member of the U.S. Navy. Jen Kiggans and Elaine Luria, both um, in the Navy, running that campaign. Scott Taylor, I believe, also in the U.S. Navy. That was a Republican that Luria defeated in 2018. So that makes sense when you look at the district. And if we talk a little bit about the campaign, you may be wondering, why is this important? It is a legislative special election after all, and usually those don't actually get as much attention as they deserve. It's important for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that it's attracted a lot of attention from both the state and national Democratic and Republican parties. And the second is that abortion has been a critical part of the campaign during this race. That doesn't mean both candidates have really stressed the abortion issue, because um, Mr. Adams, a Republican, has tried to focus his campaign on other topics, recognizing that abortion is a very difficult issue for Republicans in Democratic trending swing districts, whether we're talking about legislative seats or congressional districts. Rouse, on the other hand, has sought to make the abortion issue, particularly the protection of abortion rights in Virginia, the centerpiece of his campaign. And when it comes to the black vote and moderate suburban voters who perhaps flirted with Democratic candidates. After all, Elaine Luria, if I remember correctly, did carry this district against Kiggans, I think, in the congressional election. I'd have to double check. But point still stands. Abortion, a huge issue in this campaign, which has drawn a lot of outside dollars, and that's unusual for a special election. Now, one of the things that makes this race interesting is wildcard Senator Joe Morrissey, who is a Democrat who has been known to have some, uh, let's just say, wildcard sentiments on the abortion issue. And he's not a safe vote for the Democrats here. And so the reason why Democrats have been fighting very, very hard to get a win in this special election is because it effectively prevents Morrissey from being a deciding vote on perhaps abortion restrictions or limitations that Governor Glenn Youngkin might pursue in the Virginia Senate. So, with that in mind, in that doomsday scenario for the Virginia Democrats, if Republicans end up winning this, then you potentially have the Republican caucus plus Morrissey, which would basically tie the Senate. And the point is, Morrissey could end up having a pretty decisive vote on potential abortion restrictions. So that's why you've seen this race get a lot of attention. Um, let's see. No results yet. I don't see anything yet on VPAP. So I guess real quick then, we can take a quick look at the map of the district. I can share it with you guys. We can go over some of that on VPAP. And they have the district here. So we can go over some of the district characteristics as a good way to pass the time. And this will play in very well too. This will play in very well to what we're looking at in terms of predicting how this race is going to go. So VPAP website, again, excellent resource for politics in Virginia. I wish New Jersey had something like this for its legislative results. In fact, I might make NJPAP someday just because of how much VPAP is useful. As you can see, 97% of the voter profile in Virginia Beach, so not at all surprising. One thing that was interesting to me is, predictably, you have the younger demographics making up a little bit more in terms of the registered vote, which, again, it makes sense if you think about demographics and attrition. But predictably, the early votes that were cast, Cynic posted something talking about how they seem to be skewing a little bit older. So it'll be interesting to see how that looks tonight. Although I've heard that Democrats are actually more confident now about their turnout going into the poll closing, which has since happened. As you can see, marginal seat, but let me see if I can pull up the visualization of the results by precinct. Let me get that up because that's what I wanted to show you guys. All right. Here, we'll pull it up on DRA. We can get a good look at it there. And the DRA is probably better because it's more intuitive for demographic visualizations. Still no results reporting yet from the 53 precincts in the district. Okay, and we have loaded up DRA. And we're going to go to the Virginia State Senate map, the old one. And we're going to share. And we'll take a look at this district by precinct. All right, so as you can see, the populations are going to look quite wacky because it's the old map. And I've opened it up in the editor. But here is the 7th district that we're looking at tonight. So you can see those are the results we have from VPAP. Here are the numbers. Now, we can look at a few sets of numbers. I'd look at President 2020 first. So as you can see here, it was just a little bit more than a Biden plus 10 district. So marginal, but you can clearly see. Let me see if I can pull up some other data here. We have Governor 2021. Let's get President 2016 and composite too. So you can clearly see, looking at the 2016 presidential numbers, that even if you're looking at vote share instead of margin, and I tend to think that looking at the share of the vote is actually a better indicator, you can clearly see that the Republicans fell between 2016 and 2020, which does line up with the presidential swing map that you see here. Now, if we're looking at demographics, and this is important for tonight, so again, the district's population of minority voters. Let's see here. So right now we've set it up so we can see where the concentration of the black vote is most prominent, but I think it might be better to just go with a general group for minorities because you do actually have a sizable amount of Hispanic voters in this district too, and we can group them in. So the most Democratic precincts of the district are around Hollywood here, which coincidentally you have the among the higher population black precincts in the district, and then also here in College Park. So it's not too important to worry about the specific geographic localities, but as you're watching the results come in tonight, expect those precincts to be very Democratic, and I'd be watching for turnout discrepancies there as well, because as you can see, if we turn on precinct results and we put on the gubernatorial returns for 2021, you can see that those precincts still reliably Democratic in terms of backing up the Democratic constituency. Where we're going to have to look for Republicans tonight, if we want to put president back on, here in the center of the district, but also up north. The Republican base is in the northernmost part of the district. And we're going to have to see how both candidates perform there. So really, it's just a matter of comparing turnout in the minority precincts and also comparing in terms of the more, in terms of the suburban precincts with a higher white population, trying to see if we're going towards the 2021 dynamic with Youngkin or if we're looking at a coalition that appears more similar to Joe Biden's in 2020. So that's what we're going to be looking at. And now we're just going to be waiting till we get some results. Ideally, we're going to be getting results soon. That's my hope. At least some preliminary numbers. And here we go. We have some numbers in according to VPAP. Looks like just early votes. The early vote tracker on VPAP has gone down to just 9,720 votes. So again, small amount of votes cast, about 250, but predictably with the early vote, it puts Aaron Rouse ahead with 63% of the vote. Let me check the live map. So Varun's excellent live map here. I don't see any results yet. So not sure where these early votes are from, but we'll have to wait and see. Let me see. Let me check Twitter. I know Yesh Ginsburg has been doing quite a lot with this race, so perhaps he has some intuition as to where these early votes are coming from. Then again, it's only 200 votes, so we don't have to make a mountain out of a molehill just yet. And let me check the Virginia Board of Elections. Here we go. So another one of my favorite Virginia politicos, Sam, has pointed out that the first votes are coming from Norfolk. I'm probably pronouncing Norfolk terribly, but doesn't matter. A very small portion of the district in terms of its total electoral percentage only makes up about 4 or 5% of the total electorate. So small portion of the district overall, according to the VPAP data from Norfolk City. And we are still waiting on the election day vote. It looks like the Norfolk City mail vote, according to Joe Szymanski, has gone for Rouse 68 to 32. Democratic portion of the district, no less, but also a comparatively small portion of the district. And as Joe points out, not bad or particularly good numbers for the Democrats, perhaps enough for them to eke out a narrow victory in the end. But again, it's kind of a bit prejudicial, if you will, to take too much from the Norfolk numbers and kind of extrapolate for the whole district. So we're going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to wait for more drops. And election day votes, obviously, we're going to want to see as well. Okay. Again, thank you to all our viewers and loyal split ticket readers for coming on and watching this stream. We're really just going to be running it and covering what's going on here until we have a sense of which candidate is going to win the race. And we hope you stick around and you read the articles we have on the website. We're going to have a big one coming out tomorrow that I've worked on that Laksha's helped build a website for on our congressional voting index, which is basically like our take on PVI. And you're going to be able to look up any House seats. So that's something big that we hope you guys enjoy. In the meantime, we're waiting on more returns. And there's not much to say. I just hope you guys stick with us and we'll report the returns as soon as we get them. Okay, so we're getting numbers in from VPAP, and VPAP's numbers are not displayed yet on the website because they're drawing from the Virginia Board of Elections. But according to VPAP, the Virginia Beach local registrar has Adams ahead 5,000 votes to Rouse's 3,600 votes. So they're standing by. They tell us to stand by, and they're going to update the website for new returns. And I'm just going to say here, if the Democrats end up losing this special election, it's probably going to be because of low turnout in general, particularly among minority voters. We saw throughout the South in 2022, last November, that Democrats did struggle a decent amount with black turnout, especially rural black turnout. So if hi, Claire. How's it going?
Here's how the Virginia Senate special election confirms all of my priors.
We're just talking about how minority turnout might end up sinking the Democrats if they lose.
That will confirm my priors as well. Yes. That's the story in Virginia, ain't it?
Yep. All right, guys, let me pull up the Norfolk City numbers here on the map so we can do some comparison.
Now Norfolk is relevant, or Norfolk, if you are from that area, and I don't want to offend you, is relevant because turnout there was shit in the most recent gubernatorial.
Yes, correct. All right, let's see here. Okay, so the Norfolk portion of the district voted for Biden by 4 points in 2020. Had about 4,000 votes cast from what I can see. And in 2021, for governor, voted for Youngkin, 52 to 46, but turnout went down predictably. And we don't have any election day results yet. So it tracks then that that Aaron Rouse is winning the early vote in the Norfolk part by about 25 points, I think.
Pain on those Biden Youngkin swing numbers.
Yes. Oh, my bad. It's a bit more. Norfolk mail is 68 to 32. Now that we add that into the mix here.
How many mail ballots cast total?
I am not sure because okay. So early votes, I know they cast about 200 early votes out of Norfolk in the last update, but it looks like we have some election day votes out of the city itself, and we can do some precinct comparisons here.
Sick.
Okay, so Azalea Gardens was 57-43 Biden. Right now,
Yo, you should share your screen.
oh, I thought I was sharing it. My bad, everybody. Okay, so here I guess we can put the rest of the district back in context here. Okay, so just some precinct comparisons in the Norfolk City part of the district. So Azalea Gardens, 57-43 Biden. And you can see right now, still early, but 52-48 Rouse. And Norfolk City, Tarleton up here. Currently, Adams has 64% of the vote there. And I don't think, for some reason, well, no, that precinct's not in the same district, but 55% for Trump. And if we come down here and get the gov numbers, 59%, 60% ish for Youngkin. So
How many votes cast total in Tarleton?
in Tarleton right now, barely any, but in 2021, also not too great. Yeah, that's not considering this is an off year special election, 489 to 322. Yeah, I don't know if that's final or not, but it seems like it could be if turnout is particularly bad.
I mean, we're talking about 142,000 registered voters.
Exactly, right. I mean, oh, Varun's map has the absentee election day. Good. Okay. Little Creek. Okay, so we haven't gotten election day votes there yet. We have gotten election day votes from Tarleton and Azalea Gardens. What about here? Virginia Beach, precinct 7.
Virginia Beach City.
Yes, Virginia Beach City, precinct 7. Mount Trashmore. Okay, so Adams has 60% in precinct 7 and 62% here in precinct 13. Not box 13.
Oh, good. It's right next to precinct 76. Who the fuck numbered these?
I know.
The,
Typical
the,
election Twitter numbering.
the same guy that did the congressional districts, I'll wager.
The same guy who decided to arbitrarily flip West Virginia 1 and 2 and make 2 the Northern District.
We should start at the upper, the upper left, right corner, or the upper left corner. Pick one. I don't care, and then proceed clockwise.
I agree.
My hard and fast rule.
How would you? What animal would you say this district looks like?
Ooh, I'm seeing a manta ray, but it's like the Virginia Beach end is sort of its nose, and then it's got like a little wing, and
Well, it looks like
Tarleton
a
is its
toucan
tail.
to me, like a bird, a little bit perched or something, but also looks a little bit like a bat.
I haven't been. You know what? It's like a vulture, but the vulture is sitting and has its like.
Yeah, exactly. I guess this is kind of like the folded wing, tail, beak.
Yeah.
Okay, early voting mail, early voting in person in Norfolk City. So for comparison, we can look at Youngkin's numbers. Precinct 13, or it looks like the precincts have all been renumbered. This is Mount Trashmore. And Biden got 49% of the vote here. And Youngkin won at 50 to 42. Or sorry, that's Trump. Youngkin won at 55 to 44. So another one of those big swings. And then up here in Kingston, Youngkin got 62% of the vote compared to Trump's 54%. So in both cases, Adams is temporarily running ahead of Youngkin.
I would just like to sort of take a moment to contemplate one of the yard signs in this election, which is Kevin Adams, who has a little Popeye tattoo anchor, which I get for the district, but it's not the clip art I would have chosen, to be perfectly honest.
It looks to me, I mean, his signs remind me of Jen Kiggans, the one that she used, which I guess would make sense because he's running to replace her now that she's in Congress. I believe she used the same anchor.
Now I gotta investigate. I'm not seeing an anchor, but I am seeing the color scheme, but the color scheme is navy, obviously.
Yeah, that's probably what it was, which again, I was saying earlier, that makes perfect sense here in this district. So okay, we have precinct 19 in. We can look at that on DRA. Precinct 19 is Lake Smith. 61% Youngkin, 54% Trump, and 63%. All right, so it's pretty consistently across the board, at least right now, with a pretty large amount of the early vote outstanding for a low turnout election. He is outrunning Youngkin. And even though we weren't really too focused on these, we can, I guess, quickly look at the other two special elections. So in the 24th district in the House of Delegates, I believe they projected Ellen Campbell winner to replace Ronnie Campbell. And in the 35th district, looking pretty good for Holly Seibel to win that against Monique Baroudi. So both safe seats.
Caught 4 interceptions in his career in the NFL. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by his NFL statistics. 1 defensive touchdown.
Which teams did he play for, or team?
Oh, let's see. He was drafted in the third round of the 2007 NFL draft by the Green Bay Packers. He went to the Giants, the Cardinals, and the now defunct Nighthawks from the UFL. They were one of the expansion teams.
Interesting. You don't hear too much about the UFL, so we should have added that to our little description.
I don't think the UFL is relevant. I think
I know, but sometimes
former UFL player.
Sometimes it's nice to cover some things that seem a little bit irrelevant just for the sake of laughs.
He was number 37 in the NFL during his career.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Prime number, baby. Anyway.
But yes, as we were saying earlier, this has been a huge special election in terms of national attention. I mean, as large as special elections can get. I mean, it's still a special election. But the abortion issue has played a major role in the campaign, large implications for the Senate fight and Governor Youngkin's abortion agenda. And as a result, Democrats have been working pretty hard to win the district. Republicans have been trying to focus on their traditional, I guess you could say, bread and butter approach to ignoring the abortion issue and focusing more on the economy and supporting Governor Youngkin.
Does this determine control of the Senate, Harrison?
No, but the issue is if the Republicans win, it allows Joe Morrissey to be a wild card and effectively give Youngkin a much higher chance of passing a 15-week ban or something like that. Since Morrissey's the only pro-life Democrat in the Senate, in addition to his actual crimes that he has committed or been accused of. He did run also in the 4th District Firehouse primary against Jennifer McClellan to replace Don McEachin, who passed away, but he was defeated soundly. Too controversial to get the nomination. And that will be occurring in February, but it is safe Democratic, so won't be much of a race. And we have election day results from 3 new precincts. I'll pull them up for you guys in Virginia Beach City.
That would be the Rouse stronghold, correct?
I'm actually seeing results from the more Republican part of the district right now. Well, I mean, I guess technically we should just say that, I mean, it's all technically in Virginia Beach City, but the most Democratic parts of the district with the highest Black and Hispanic populations, we're still waiting on votes there. But it'll be really important once we get them to see how the election day votes are shaping up, because again, minority turnout, as you all know, very, very important to the Democratic campaign operation here. So in Thorogood, which is on VPAP marked as precinct 18, Adams is actually underperforming Youngkin a little bit, but in 15, Old Donation, he is hold on here. Let me actually put on the 2021 results. I'm going to confuse you all unintentionally. There we go. So he's running quite similarly to Glenn Youngkin right now, either slightly underperforming him like a Thorogood, or in most of these precincts running ahead of him. I don't know. What do you think? How do you think this thing's going to turn out, Claire?
I think whoever gets the most votes These are special elections, and understand, conceding that there are real consequences for state ledge in the balance. It is, you're talking about a very, very small and a small universe of voters in these special elections. I mean, you're not looking at anybody who hasn't voted before, or only a handful of people. It'll be fascinating.
Definitely. Ooh, we've got an interesting stat from Miles as usual.
Thanks, Miles.
Yes, of course. So we're now hearing, according to Miles, and I'll send the tweet in the chat for you guys if you haven't seen it, that all 3 of the Norfolk City precincts are fully reported. So we've got completed results there. And Miles points out that Adams won them 51-49, which is narrower than Kiggans. Kiggans won them 53-47 in 2019, and she only won by 500 votes in 2019. So again, it really all depends on Virginia Beach, 95% of the district. But Miles raises a good point. It'll be interesting to see if the same ratios hold up. Maybe it won't end up being enough for the Republicans in the end.
Oh, yeah, she was 500 votes.
Yeah, very, very close. I mean, 500 votes that pretty much led her to Congress where she is now. I mean, if she had lost, if you lose, that kind of ruins your candidate potential, as Steve Sweeney found out.
Steve Sweeney found out.
I was telling everybody earlier that it's interesting because the most expensive special election for a legislative race, not special election, but the most expensive legislative race was against Steve Sweeney in 2017. Spent millions of dollars, teachers union backing the Republican to try and defeat him, and they lost by 17 points. This is not nearly that expensive, but for a special election in a legislative district, it's a lot of interest.
It is a state senate district. Yo, shout out VPAP for having a really lovely little map.
I love VPAP. I was just saying that I wish we had something like VPAP for more states.
Atlanta's got a similar guy, I believe.
Right. Okay, we have our first plurality black precinct, Davis Corner, reporting results according to VPAP. Rouse has 71% of the vote, which is slightly above what McAuliffe got there in 2021. But I guess more importantly, we should be looking at turnout. And there were about 1,600 votes cast in that precinct for governor last time. And now we have about 500 votes being cast. So he's just about hitting McAuliffe's numbers percentage-wise, but that is a pretty large drop in turnout, predictably.
Can you check out like 2015 or 2011? Because that's when turnout was just rock bottom.
Let me see if DRA has. All right, let me check on VPAP. VPAP definitely has some old numbers.
In the meantime, I would like to note, and I'm about to tweet this, that the total raised as of January 10th, like end of campaign reports for Adams, the Republican, 999,422, which man, that's rough. You couldn't get that over 1 million. Because they tried.
They did, definitely.
And then Rouse, 1,100,012. He made it over 1 million with room to spare, but this is not a lopsided sort of fundraising special election like that obnoxious one in Texas, Flores.
Oh, right.
I mean, she spent what, 2 million to her opponents, 100,000. So you're seeing some evenly matched fundraising totals but it would be nice to check them quarter by quarter.
Rouse literally has exactly the same percentage share as McAuliffe in this precinct right now.
What is the appropriate hashtag? SD7 with a hyphen?
SD07, SD7? I don't think there's a hyphen.
I'll just do the 7.
Yeah, that works.
Love you, VPAP. And I want applicants. So I'm going to check out Kevin Adams fundraising. I typed
Good.
it in backwards.
Well, you're
and
doing.
when, oh,
Go ahead. Sorry.
let's see. Oh no, never mind. It's false alarm. What were you saying?
I was looking at another precinct here, but my DRA is frozen, so I'm going to reload it real quick and then get back to you guys.
Let's see. Oh Lord. It looks like almost the entirety on VPAP of Kevin Adams donors are tagged under the industry sector political. 999,000 of them, in fact.
Interesting.
I'll like to see how that stacks up to Rouse, donors by occupation, and political pretty high too, but then it seems pretty evenly split between political and single issue groups. Oh, he got the real estate lobby. That's nice of him. That's nice for him.
Okay, and we're getting numbers in from College Park as well, which is a majority black precinct. McAuliffe, 72.5%. And Rouse is at 73.9%. So actually a bit of an improvement. Does it provide you with the actual total for money raised and spent?
Yeah, so I just tweeted it. I'll send the link. And then I'm looking at independent expenditures because that was super relevant in Virginia 2019 gubernatorial. If you looked at the IE spending, like the greatest or the greatest IE spending on behalf of TMAC at all was the fucking Lincoln Project.
Of
They
course.
dropped the most money. It was $300,000 and something like that. And then it's just millions in IE money raining down upon the state and the airwaves on behalf of Youngkin.
Okay. All right, so we now have two. We have a black majority precinct and a plurality black precinct to compare, two of the most Democratic precincts in the district. We had Davis Corner, where Rouse is hitting Youngkin's numbers, and we have Virginia Beach City, where it's still pretty early, looking at more votes to be cast, most likely. And Rouse is running slightly ahead of McAuliffe's share of the vote. Turnout, predictably, a significant drop off. We have precinct 61 in as well. That's another one of the black majority precincts. I think it actually has the highest black population of any precinct in the district. That's Hollywood and Virginia Wesleyan College. So we'll tweet about that too.
Let's see, 11 plus 20.
So according to what I've been hearing on Twitter now, it seems that we're still waiting on a lot of early vote in the district, in the Virginia Beach portion, since Norfolk is done. And they, on this other Twitter space, are basically saying to just be cautious and that it might actually end up looking pretty good for Rouse once the rest of these early votes start to come in. So we'll keep that in mind here looking at the results, which the results are coming in pretty quickly at this point. Only election day votes.
Harrison, are there comments that I'm missing?
I don't believe so right now. We just have some.
Cool.
We've had the dedicated viewers, but no other comments except one from Playful Piano earlier.
All right, guys, continue shutting the fuck up then.
Election day.
It's incredible to opine on elections and not have a chorus of elections.
Well, luckily, I don't think we've said anything controversial enough.
I sent the split ticket account my fundraising.
Perfect. I am just
Half-ass
putting something
screenshot.
out about Hollywood, and then I will go look at it.
Virginia, Harrison, focus. We're in Virginia.
I know. They should have thought of that when they named their city Hollywood.
Hollywood in California was actually called Hollywood Land, I believe. That's what the sign originally said.
That is true, but they still should have thought about it in Virginia.
I could just rename, rebrand. Never too old. Or never too late for a rebrand. There's an island just south of Virginia Beach called it's called the swamp's called the Dismal Swamp, and I'm pretty sure there's Devil's Island down there.
Ah, yes, the Great Dismal Swamp.
Anyway, that's North Carolina. Focus.
To be fair, the Dismal Swamp does stretch up into Virginia, so it's technically still on topic. Okay.
Is there a precinct called Brandon, and can you give us a report on that? You want to just sound off and tell us how Brandon's doing?
No idea. Although we do have a request for Loksha to roast Katie Porter.
They just want to see drama. These people live for chaos.
That is true. Early vote is going to be crazy. I'm looking forward to it dropping so we can get a better idea of which way the race is actually going.
I mean, yeah, we're talking about a cool 1,500 votes and 9,720 early votes outstanding.
Yes. Yes. Thank you to VPAP again for having a tool that useful that just has that number on
God,
hand.
you absolutely love to see it. Early voting didn't play much of a factor, but if you're voting in a special election, like, shit matters. It looks like what would you guess the ratio of early vote to E-Day vote be?
It's a good question. Let me go look at the VPAP site again and see what the number is.
Do some quick math. We're at like 40% reporting and
About 19,000 18,000 votes cast, 62% of precincts reporting, 9,000 outstanding.
It's like 10% ish.
Yeah,
maybe.
I would say about 10%. Something significant in a close election, but obviously not gigantic, which is, I guess, where we usually find the early vote.
I mean, yeah. It's a Senate election, so just drive to your dang polling place as long as you don't have to go through the tunnel. Why not? Oh, cool. We have more precincts in, I think. Man, Verizon. You love to see it. Verizon is welcome to sponsor split ticket live streams if anyone is watching.
I forgot Verizon sponsored VPAP.
It's the logo's like right over there.
I know. I can see it when I scroll down to the end. Oh, up there too. I didn't even see it.
Oh
Perfect.
my God, look at this little baby precinct in Virginia Beach City. It is precinct 102, and there are like 100 people there. It's adorable.
Wow, it's just not even on DRA because of the way it's drawn.
It's
part of Bayside, which appears to be a bunch of it appears to be precincts 69 and 20 merged together.
Nice. Oh, there's another teeny one, 101. Anyway. Man, kind of miss having a PC with the way the window tilings are set up on Mac. I'm kind of spoiled now. I gotta be real.
All right. Let's see. Something just got retweeted by America First Populist, who I see the blue check and I'm like, oh, the blue check. And then I remember that Twitter Blue exists.
I mean, the America First Populist is, not my first guess for a legacy verified account name.
Yes, I mean, he's friendly in interactions, but again.
Oh, I don't know any of these people. They're just laser-eyed teenagers on the internet to me. Lovely ones, if you're watching. Man, I wish Virginia Beach City would give fun names to their precincts, but no.
I see. Yesh Ginsburg has sent me a DM and said that Virginia Beach updated its precinct lines in mid-2022, so that would be why DRA is out of step.
And that's why they have the little baby guys?
Yeah, the little baby precinct is brand new, so.
That's why it's so small, because it's new.
That's true.
Okay. I gotta stop nerding out for a second and get my life together. Well, Harrison, what can you say except that it's close?
Yeah, they could fire all election commentators and just do that instead.
No, they couldn't fire all election commentators. Kornacki just has this like finesse of making you think that you're
Kornacki
watching
is an
something.
exception because Kornacki is too dynamic to be fired.
I know.
Because Kornacki has achieved a following outside of election Twitter. That's what distinguishes him.
Election night 2020, I go to put my shit in Miles Coleman's guest room, and sitting on the bedside table are like 3 Steve Kornacki books.
I thought you were going to say a cardboard cutout of Steve Kornacki or something.
No, that was probably in the other bedroom with the unpacked boxes. But yeah, it was a very Miles moment. I commented on it, and he's like, well, I thought it would make you feel at home. The elections atlases are mostly next to my bed if you just want to like swap reading material.
I have one Kornacki book, which was actually very good, and I highly recommend it. But the red and the blue about the rise of Newt Gingrich and the Republican House majority, very well written, put together.
I lost a lot of books in a move and have only been recently replenishing mine, but most of the ones to do with numbers are, and I hate to sound like an asshole, are mostly baseball statistics. Well, Harrison, if you're not doing anything, or I'm doing something, I'm going to check the weather today in Virginia Beach.
That's a good question. In fact, that's probably one of the most fiercely debated research topics among mainstream American studies folks in political sciences does weather, or rather, what scale does the weather impact have on voting? If it's bad.
Yeah, I don't know if they're just hacking the hell out of it to like, net conclusions. And I think it would vary drastically with region because like rain in Mobile, Alabama and like Seattle, Washington, which by
Very
the way are like
different.
well, actually they're the two rainiest cities or cloudiest cities.
That's true, actually. That's good. That's cool. I was going to say, just bring it back to the debate everybody was having about the snowstorm in Reno and in Washoe County affecting the Nevada Senate race. And I feel like people kind of overstated the effect it would have because on election day, you immediately saw all the pictures and videos of all the roads being plowed and salted and everything. And I was kind of internally, I was like, well, I mean, I don't really know what people expected because it does snow. It's the people in Washoe County are used to snow.
Yeah, like Renoites are winter people. You just like you can see the mountains from pretty much anywhere in Reno, and like once it starts getting like entirely white up there, they're ready to ski, man.
They are. It's not like Vegas.
It's the elevation.
Exactly. So, report says there are over 10,000 early votes that will be dropped at the very end of the Senate special election. So, of course, they've decided to turn the game of this election into chaos, waiting until we have all these votes at the end to come in.
These are the votes they've had for the longest time. They've been able to count for the longest time. And are they like special? Are they dessert votes?
That's a good way of putting it when they count early votes at the end. It's like dessert votes for the candidate who ends up winning. Never heard it said that way, but
I mean, it's like also kind of like I can sympathize because the shit that I've been putting off the longest is the shit that gets done last, right? I'll get to it. I'll tabulate those.
Viewers, we have another interesting spreadsheet here. I just shared it in the comments. Spreadsheet goes over a comparison of the precinct results from tonight's election and 2022 or 2022 for the House, which is pretty interesting because DRA does not have that.
Ooh.
And Luria did win the district narrowly. So this will be a good point of comparison. Right now, very mixed bag of results, although it looks like more precincts have moved left from the congressional results in 2022 in this district, which would make sense because, I mean, Kiggans still represented it. So it's fair to assume that running for Congress, she'd have more of a poll than Adams would. But so very early, but honestly, I agree with how we rated the race, leans D, and I agree with what I've seen on Twitter that if these early votes bode well for the Democrats, I would rather be Rouse.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's going to win.
If the E-Day votes get tallied up, then we, barring a sudden fascination or enthusiasm with the Republican electorate of this specific Senate race with mail, we can probably say that we have room for dessert. Damn. I am fixing to be on my way out the door. You might have to tap in Armin.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be fine, honestly, because once we finish counting the election day votes, I mean, I think we know how this race is going to go. And we're trying to save our StreamYard time, too, because we only get 20 hours a month. So this, I mean, again, should be plenty, but got to save it for some of these interviews we're planning for the yesterday's Congress show with Armin.
You heard that right. 16 hours of oh god, I can't even pull out a weird one of Ben Chandler, or 19 hours of Ben Chandler.
We've gotten a lot of people like Ben Chandler, but I mean, it'd be cool to talk to Ben Chandler. We actually have never thought about reaching out to Ben Chandler, but
I'll do some digging. I'll get a fresh email on Ben
we have to get
Chandler.
J.R. Majewski first, even though he's not a former member of Congress.
I gotta do that follow up. I absolutely want that to happen.
That would be pretty funny. We could have a panel with J.R. Majewski and Ben Chandler.
What the fuck?
That'd be a good panel. I'm sure they'd find some common ground somehow.
I mean, Ohio River Valley, right? No.
Yeah, I mean, this all assumes, of course, that Majewski is not actually as extreme as he says. And wonderful. It looks like we have Leon too. So Leon's going to be replacing you. At least for a bit.
Hello.
Leon's tapping.
Yeah,
tapping
I
Leon
can tap in.
It's good to see you, Leon.
Yes. Yeah.
Wait, Leon, do this with your hair.
Which hand?
Just flatten. Just the right hand. Just flatten. There we go. You're good.
This one. Okay. I don't know. No, I just went on a
You're
run,
good.
so it's a bit messy. Also, yeah.
Flex.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm looking
it's
so
it's sort of
windswept.
acceptable. I'm not. It's acceptable. It's been worse. Yeah. Okay. So, right now, I think the consensus is that we're waiting on the 10,000. I think you've said it before, but it's the 10,000 or so remaining early votes, and if they break like strongly for Rouse, then he can make up the
It's over.
1.6 thousand margin. But if they don't, then well.
Yeah, again,
All right.
I thank you, Claire, for coming on.
Thank you, Claire.
Bye.
Yeah, so to your point, Leon, personally, I would expect the early votes to be better for Rouse. I think that's kind of the logic behind everyone who's saying that he's going to end up winning this race, but there's really no way of knowing for sure until they come. So
I actually have a spreadsheet out. Let me try to share it.
Which spreadsheet is this?
This is just a simple spreadsheet I put together for Norfolk and Virginia Beach, showing how the election day vote broke down and how the early vote broke down.
Oh, good. That's important.
Let me.
By the way, everyone, the last comment I put into our feed here from the main account is a spreadsheet that compares the election results from this special election to the returns in the district for Congress in 2022. So you can see how Rouse is doing compared to Elaine Luria, who lost the 2nd Congressional District but won the Senate District. And here's Leon's spreadsheet going over voting distribution.
So I should actually name these, but this is for a in-house map project. So
do you think you could zoom in a little bit? It's a bit small.
Sure.
For some of the people. There you go. Perfect.
Okay, well, I'm looking at the Rouse total, the Adams total, the precincts here. These are the election day results because at least for now, the absentee vote shown here isn't assigned by precinct. And so what I did here is I modeled what the actual precincts were based on the early vote. And we can see just over 1,000 votes were cast on election day in Norfolk, and about 250 or 250 votes were cast early. And you can see there's a pretty big difference in the way these two vote groups broke down. This is a margin of D plus 26, and this is R plus 8.8. So that's a spread about 34 percentage points, which means Adams probably needs a pretty big lead out of the election day vote if he's going to withstand a wave of 10,000 or so estimated pre-election day votes.
Yes, I think that these data sum up well why Adams is in a precarious situation at the moment.
I have something for Virginia Beach as well, but because there's no results I could find for the county or citywide uh, early vote, it's not really useful to look at this. This is all from the state elections website, by the way, if you'd like to know where I got the data from. And what it's going to be used for is, let me try to, hang on. I'm going to share a different tab.
And for what it's worth, if we're talking about how elections, especially low turnout elections, are sometimes going to end up being irregular, Miles pointed out that right now Rouse or Adams appears on track to win the Norfolk portion 51-49, and it was 53-47 Kiggans, and Kiggans only won by 500 votes. Again, kind of apples and oranges, but interesting point about how when ratios change, you might not need the same benchmark in a certain place to win.
And so here's like a mapping template I made for the special election. It'll be filled out as soon as Virginia Beach posts its not final, but like end of the night results.
Near final.
So, yeah, near final. And by then we should know a winner, and that's the main idea of mapping it out, to show how either one of these candidates won in this previously Republican held before Kiggans went on to Congress, but still a pretty contentious district because Biden won it by 10 percentage points 3 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go look at the older iteration of the district because I believe it has not been represented by a Democrat in this century. Obviously, the lines change. I'm just going to make sure the numbers don't change before I say that. So I'm going to go back and look.
Now, what I can say is in the iteration of the district that will be contested later this year in about 10 months, the northern part of this district, which is more Republican, will be split into a actually Trump voting district.
Yes.
While the southern half will be brought into a Biden voting district. So effectively, this district won't really exist in the next decade, but definitely based on the how close the Virginia Senate is, it is a pretty important election.
Definitely. And it looks like this district a Democrat last won this general area, which has been numbered the 7th district for a long time in 1991. And then after that, it's been held pretty reliably by Republicans like Ed Schrock and Frank Wagner. But Kiggans' near loss in 2019, definitely the closest race the district had under the current form.
Apparently, there's only been one write-in vote counted in the entire district. It's interesting.
It is interesting. It seems doesn't seem too surprising though, because I feel like most mainstream voters tend to just pick one or the other rather than voting write-in. And when you have such a relatively low turnout election,
Yeah.
So the precinct spreadsheet is still being updated for the comparison against 2022, but generally in Virginia Beach at the moment, it appears that Rouse is improving off of Luria's numbers. Pre-early vote, I should say, in most of these precincts.
UMich voter seems to have early votes from Virginia Beach, and they actually seem to net Adams some votes. It looks like 33 votes. But I'll try to
Interesting.
find them from an official source before putting them in my spreadsheet. Although
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
think
curious where they're from in Virginia Beach.
I heard their website's ahead of the state website, like the city of Virginia Beach. I'll go look that up.
Yeah, let me go look on that, see where they're from.
Rouse seems to be ahead.
In the Virginia Beach early vote?
Well, what's being shown on their website? I'd like to see. Okay, I can get there by precinct and by. Okay, so let me update my spreadsheet with what I'm seeing on this website, and then maybe I'll share my screen, and then we can dig through it. Yeah, it looks like if these numbers hold up, it's looking pretty good for Rouse.
Yeah, I think that's the general interpretation right now.
All right, let me share my screen. Wait, actually, let me get one more thing done.
And Rouse is officially in the lead right now, not on VPAP, but
if you add everything together, yeah,
narrowly in the lead.
Although there's still some election day vote to come in, but who knows if that's enough for Adams to take the lead.
Yeah, I think the outstanding election day vote is still pretty Republican. The question now is just are the Virginia Beach early numbers going to be favorable enough to Rouse for him to win? And I think that that's probably, if at least slightly, the most likely outcome right now.
All right, let me just share my screen to show everyone what I've got right now. I think it should be this. Okay, so from Norfolk, Adams leads by about 32 votes, right? That's easily going to change once whatever provisionals come in and however they break. But what's most interesting is Virginia Beach nets Rouse 1,000 votes or so. And because it's the vast majority of the district as a whole is voting for Rouse by about 3% right now. And what did that? Okay, you can. I should have. Okay, ignore that. But what did that is how much is the sheer amount of votes he net by mail in Virginia Beach. That's about 4.3 thousand. That's 2.7 thousand just from mail alone, and that's way beyond his total Virginia Beach margin and his total district-wide margin. So that drop is what made what sort of sealed the deal for Rouse. Now, again, we're waiting on quite a bit of election day stuff that I haven't updated, but that's sort of the state of the game right now.
Yes, again, basically the conclusion still stands. All comes down to the Virginia Beach early vote. And the outstanding election day votes from precinct 47, among others. But I believe VPAP was repairing their website to go with Virginia Beach because, as you said, Virginia Beach, the county right now, as a municipality, their board of elections is above, or rather ahead of the state. And so VPAP's numbers are now up to date, and we're still waiting on, I believe, 9 precincts That said, I believe it's messed up. The early votes outstanding estimate on VPAP is now down to 0, which is not correct. It was at 9,720.
I think that's referring to the 10,000 or so votes that dropped, that are now included in the. Are they included in the total?
Are they?
Yeah, they are.
Oh, you're
So-
right. Yeah.
So
I did not see the updated total numbers on VPAP, so VPAP is correct.
and so effectively, we're waiting on 9 precincts and a margin of 900 votes, which is doable for Adams.
Yes.
So still up in the air. I don't
Very
think we're
much
ready.
so.
We're not ready for a official split ticket call, if you will, but again, it's going to be a close race either way.
Yeah, now the tables have almost turned, and we're just waiting to see if the election day vote is enough to save Adams, rather than waiting to see if the election day vote is weak enough to allow Rouse's early votes and mail votes to put him over the top. That's already happened. Now we get to watch the election day vote.
Actually, we probably could determine this based on previous voting patterns in the outstanding precincts. Let me go look at them. If they're showing, if these
I
are
have them up
precincts
on DRA.
well, I have my spreadsheet here, and I think it. Let me just open it myself.
Oh yeah, of course. I was
Yeah.
just saying that I've been looking at them personally on DRA to try and get a read.
Yeah. Because the thing is, if the remaining precincts are, sort of overwhelmingly for Biden or other Democrats, then that really makes the path to victory a lot harder for Adams. 27.
I do believe, though, from looking at DRA, that a decent amount of these precincts are actually part of the Republican base in the district.
And another thing to consider is that election day votes are more favorable to Republicans. So,
Of course, I believe all of the outstanding precincts voted for, perhaps almost all of them voted for Glenn Youngkin in 2021.
well, that's news the Adam camp probably wants to hear. 27. That's a Republican precinct. There's one Democrat precinct, 1-1. So we're like tied, if you will.
I believe only one of these precincts, precinct Lexington is the name of the precinct, or no, sorry, that's another one. I'm thinking of Windsor Oaks, or on VPAP precinct number 36, voted for McAuliffe.
Yeah, that seems to match up with what I'm observing. Although, again, it's about whether or not. Let me load this. So the gap I'm seeing is 623. Yeah, 623 votes. When you add the Norfolk and Virginia Beach totals, or at least the most up-to-date ones I could find, the difference is 623. Yeah.
And we are getting some more returns in. I was just pointing out that precincts 47 and 59, or Shelton Park and Kings Grant, are among the larger outstanding precincts if we're looking at which ones are leaning towards the Republicans. And I think we're down to just 4.
Oh, by the way, Harrison, that precinct, the McAuliffe precinct 36, only net Rouse 34 votes. So
That's not
Yeah.
good.
Well, good,
Depends
bad.
on what we
I
see
mean,
out of other precincts like Kings Grant, but it doesn't seem like.
I think it's going to be close, but I think Rouse is favored because this is a low turnout special election. Even with those larger Republican precincts remaining, I'm not convinced it's enough to overcome a 500, 600 vote gap.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's favored. I was more so implying that since he's only netting 34 votes, I mean, it's not really that much of a bulwark against a drop. But I agree with your point that he should have enough of a lead as it is to survive the
Especially with the
election day vote.
massive mail-in drop. That's
The
definitely
mail-in drop, yeah, the mail-in
a
drop
huge
did
part
it.
of it.
The mail-in drop put him in the lead, and I mean, I guess the sheer fact that he netted any votes from that precinct is only going to help his position, but it's tightening as we speak. But I agree with you, Leon. I think it's fair to say that Rouse is favored, assuming no major anomalies.
Yep. Well, again, let this be a reminder to everyone that any election, no matter how small, no matter how local, is important. So if a special election or any local election comes your way, it's in your best interest to vote because it could end up pretty close like this one. Yeah, especially when one seat can direct a lot of the policy in a state of millions of people.
Exactly.
And yeah.
Well, Lean's D rating for split ticket looks like it's going to hold up here, the first 2023 legislative rating. So looks like starting the
Will be
cycle.
1 for 1.
One, yeah, exactly.
Well,
starting
if you're counting like some other organization, we could be 3 for 3. But
yeah.
I think 47 came in. That's a decent drop for Adams. He nets 219 votes, but again, running out of room here. So
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's going to be enough. It looks like the Democrats are going to end up flipping this seat.
It's about a quarter of a congressional district, only casting 40,000 votes or so. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, turnout is atrocious.
Well, that makes each voter who actually came out more powerful in a way. So
It's true. It's reminding me of the 2021 legislative elections in New Jersey. Terrible
that low
turnout.
turnout.
New Jersey's off-year elections always have very bad turnout. Like, no doubt, ancestrally Republican seats, you do have a large ticket splitting effect. There's really no other way you'd have Republicans winning seats that voted for Joe Biden by 18 points, 22 points. But at the same time, garbage turnout is certainly playing a role to some extent.
Yeah, and it also makes it easier for candidates to build connections. I think lower turnout means more ticket splitting because the electorate is smaller and can have a sort of more personal relationship with the voters. Another precinct came in, gave Adams a net 24 votes. Definitely not what he wants to see. I think I'd be ready to call this.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too.
Do you have the account open?
Yeah, I'll go post a projection here. Let me just put the right hashtag in.
I think it'd be good to bring up the how low the turnout is.
Yes.
Or
I mean,
you can do whatever you want.
We can do a thread with it, and then underneath the race call, I will put that as a note.
Like some factors that affected the race or like significance of the race. I think that usually helps.
Yes. I'd be interested too, once we get final results, at looking at differential turnout and seeing how turnout fell in the precincts with the highest minority populations relative to the wider precincts in terms of percentage change. I'd be willing to bet it fell more, but...
So here's the deal. 2 precincts to go, and the gap of, that looks like 414 votes. And Virginia Beach counts about 140, 150 provisionals, and there's no way all of those break for one candidate. So if this doesn't get within 50, I'm comfortable. I'm already comfortable calling it, but that's when you start editing the Wikipedia page. Certainly.
Yes. I'm just going to write the tweet.
I think once we have one precinct left, it's done.
I think it's safe.
Yeah.
Once we get to that point.
And once that comes in, I should be able to turn out a map in about a minute.
That will be a fancy, wonderful map that Split Ticket can promote.
Yes. And then we can include that in our post-mortem article.
Yeah, I've got to say this whole election is good news for Blake Masters, among other things, but...
Well, I mean, it shows the base is coming out.
Clearly, the base is coming out in precinct 47.
47. I mean, that was a pretty good precinct for Republicans, although we're waiting on precinct 27 and 103. Maybe Masters gun ads brought up the conservative base. Well, we sort of have a bit of a dead space here. Maybe we could talk about the latest development in California's upcoming Senate race. The primary is only 14 months away,
I know, it's a good way to shrink life thinking about it by elections.
Yeah.
That's going to be quite an interesting race, in my opinion, because of the jungle primary. I think that's what is intriguing about California for anybody who looks at it. And
Yeah.
I'm
If
just
you're
curious if we're going to end up with a 2016 repeat D versus D, or the other people dooming about Republicans somehow locking out the Democrats.
that would take a huge Democratic field, like 5, 6,
I know,
and
I
they're all
know.
like polling 10%, and then and there's only 2 Republican candidates, and they're both like equally matched in attracting the right of center vote, and so they get like 20% each. It's possible, but I would say it's very unlikely. And if it does happen, that's partially due to poor strategy. It's like what happened in there was a Senate race, a state Senate race in California. This was a district that voted for Trump by 10. So it's basically like R plus 20, 30 down ballot. And the 2 top vote finishers were both Democrats with like 20, 18%, something like that. And yeah, that's how it is.
Okay. I remember that race. On a different note, briefly, I do think it's safe to call the race now.
Yeah.
All right, we'll put up the tweet.
All right. Youngkin is DOA in 25. Yeah, I don't see a way he gets a second consecutive term.
Well, he can't because it's unconstitutional.
That's the joke.
I wasn't sure because some people ask questions like that on here, Leon.
Well, you don't have to worry about me. Yeah.
I take everyone too seriously on election Twitter.
I mean, it doesn't hurt. Sometimes people do have silly questions and silly comments that don't really make the most sense.
Who knows? Maybe Virginia will change its rules. Okay. Tweet is up. And it appears that everyone has had the same exact projection idea at more or less the same time.
Well, I mean, it doesn't hurt. Better to be right than to jump the gun.
Exactly. That's
A
the
lot of
split ticket.
people looked at the turnout data and thought the Republicans would pull it off, but maybe it's just the fact that Republicans are more likely to vote on election day, so that's how they get counted.
That's one of the truisms, it seems, in politics these days.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that that is over, we're going to save our StreamYard time because we have some new StreamYard shows and interviews we're planning, and we get only, I believe, 18 and a half more hours this month. So we hope you guys look forward to that content. Thank you, Leon, for coming on, and thank you guys for watching our coverage. Good night,
And thank
everybody.
you for having me, Harrison. Good night.
Of course.